All right, hi everyone. I'm just gonna go trade recap trade replay for one of the trades that we did yesterday on March 2nd in the chat room. But before that, let's see what happened to the market. So the market was crazy today. I mean, we all know what is happening right now in the market. So because of the coronavirus, so since back in end of February, everything has started dropping. This is the biggest drop that we had in history after financial crisis, almost 12% drop. So my market recovered yesterday. Today also opened a little bit higher, but it's sold off. And one of the things that happened, and we were in the chat room and we actually traded live, was the Fed's cut. The Federal Reserve cut the interest rate by half, 0.5%, which is a lot. So that means that was the announcement came in. You can just huge pop up. I actually cut a little bit of on that. So when they cut the interest rate, it means that the money becomes cheap. You can borrow, the economy can get boosted, and that's one of the measures. The monetary policy is one of the measures that the government wants to boost the economy. But after that, market dropped really bad on that. When you look at the SPY actually closed 3%, so it's almost lost whatever they recovered yesterday. So because there is two effect on that. When yes, cheap money boosts the economy, but also that means there is a sign of that, okay, everyone is worried about the economy, and they should be, because of the coronavirus. All of the airlines are getting cancellation, hotels, and people don't go out, and there is definitely less expenditure from people. Some sectors, like these coronavirus companies like Wire or mRNA, they just keep going higher. So when you look at the daily chart, just they get crazy from $18 all the way to $38, and this volatility comes to certain sectors, or like what we had Costco, for example. Yesterday, it was crazy, moving higher. Or a lot of retails, because people now overbuying and trying to keep stuff. So for the next quarter, they might get good stuff. But overall, it does slow down the economy. So what we notice here in the SPY is just huge volatility. At this time, this is a huge move from 305 all the way up to 314. I actually cut the AMD some of that here. But yeah, so let's see what happens with the market. The volatility is just unbelievable, the way that the market is volatile. You got to be really careful, and don't get the fear of missing out. Stick to the plans that stick to patterns that you're comfortable, and don't try to catch every move in the market. Most of the people can't catch this kind of moves. I know a lot of people are posting a lot of amazing results, but again, don't get the fear of missing out. Stick to your discipline and risk management, and you can become a trader without really staying away from this crazy volatility. Not that they're not tradable, not that you should not capitalize on it, or not there is anything wrong with that, but again, it's just it's something to consider, that these are not usual markets, and try to stick to what you know. And that's the whole purpose of this trade recap that I want to do, is because that's a trade that I did on March. So that's a trade that I did on March 2nd on AMD short, and that's the longest squeeze, and I want to actually replay on that and talk about what we learned on that. So yeah, so this is a trade that we did yesterday in the chat room. So I'm going to explain what I saw, and exactly go through the thought process that we had. But other than that, so let me go into that. Yeah, so when the economy is getting weak, Federal Reserve have two ways of boosting the economy. One of them is the monetary policy, will reduce the interest rate, and they just let the people to borrow. But the disadvantage on that is they can actually increase the inflation. But U.S. economy is strong; it doesn't have any inflation, and U.S. is it's a very special country, because. And it's very hard to get inflation in US, because it's the only country that its currency is the reserve of the world. I mean, everywhere in the world they're keeping currency of US dollar. So it's very hard to get inflation, and the money goes out of the country, and just everyone is trying to collect US dollar. That's the only stable country and economy that people are feeling to keep the currency. So that's why even with the low interest rate and even negative interest rate, you might not see any inflation. It's just that's the way that US has been in the world economy. It's just their currency is the reserve. Like euro, for example, there's a lot of question with euro or British pound, and Deutsche Bank is bankrupt essentially. So, or after Brexit, the British currency. There's a lot of question mark on that, but US just, people buy that. And there's another way that the Feds can control the economy is just by quantitative easing and balancing a budget sheet, on debts and all of the buying financial assets. But yeah, easing the interest rate is a good thing for the market, but at the same time, it's a sign of uncertainty, and the financial market really doesn't like any uncertainty. So you got to deal with both way. But money is becoming cheap, and people probably borrow, and interest rates on everything is coming down. So people, that's just the way of people to get their money out of their banks and everything, and just put it into the economy. We'll see how it goes. I mean, Japan or a lot of countries, they have negative interest rates. So if you put your money in the bank, it slowly loses value. So you have to take it out and just put it into the work or environment or real estate or whatever. Anyways, but what it does is generally lowers the currency. So the power of the currency is based on the interest rate. When the interest rate of the country is higher, for example, USD Canadian, if the interest rate of US is higher, the currency is more powerful because people can borrow from Canada and put it in US, and then they make profit by just the difference of interest rate of the central banks. So yeah, the effect on USD Canadian would be interesting. It didn't change much because I think Canada is kind of following US interest rate and everything, so it still is around 1.33. But other than that, I want to trade the AMD yesterday. So again, for those of you, the dash replay is something that it's gold. So you go into the code mode. So you go into the data stream mode, you click apply, you want to switch, of course. And then we go to AMD, and we go yesterday on Monday, and then we can download the data. There you go, download the data, and then yeah, you can just play it. I'm actually putting it here as well. And yeah, so we can just play it. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. We can play that, and we can actually put AMD here as well on the data. We want to go all the way up to March 2nd on a daily chart. Why do we have the daily chart? We gotta stop. I gotta go back to normal to load the daily chart first. Okay, so now I gotta load it first, and then we go back to the replay. Because if you're in the replay, you don't load the daily chart because there's no data in there. And yeah, we'll just play it. So for this one, we can change the data to March 2nd. Hopefully they're gonna fix that. Stop. Yeah, March 2nd. Yeah. Sorry, March. Yeah, so it's March 2nd. And actually, we can change it to even March 1st. All right, so now we can play that. Again, so what you see at 1 minute chart, so it's 4 o'clock in the morning, so you gotta go a little bit faster. Oh, no, not this one. You go a little bit faster here, near 5 o'clock. So AMD is one of those stocks that when you see in a daily chart, it's sold off really, really bad with the market. It does get affected by the market, so I'm just slowing down a little bit. So I'm slowing down a little bit to talk about the daily chart. So yeah, again, this is the market that started selling off, and AMD started selling off as well. So it kind of moves with the market, but again, the volatility is really good on it. So instead of trading a SPY at 300, you can trade AMD at $40, $50 and get a much better move. And the liquidity is amazing on that as well. So kind of moves with the market. So it's one of my to-go choices. And Brian today also traded. Brian also traded AMD. It's on a permanent ban on Brian watch this, but he did trade it today. So yeah, so again, so what we did this morning, it was gapping up. Again, it was a day that everything was gapping up. So if you want to know exactly in that day, if you want to do any homework in that day, we have the trade ideas. So what we can do is, you can just go into the gappers watch list that we have. Let me bring the gappers watch list. So we have the gappers watch list, or you can just go to the pre-market show. We have it daily, so you can go any day that you want. Go into the gappers watch list. So in terms of not the configuration, it's a time frame. Go to the historical date. We want to go to March 2nd by 9 o'clock in the morning. So we want to see what do we have? Not 9:30. Sorry. By let's say 9 o'clock in the morning. So AMD was up 4%. So as you see, AMD was up 4%. It's one of the stocks that we're in our gappers watch list, and with really good volume. And again, the average true range is $3, which is really good for a stock that is $47. So it's definitely one of the stocks that I want to put on my watch. So yeah, so we want to do a trade on that. So the stock is moving in the pre-market really, really nicely. The volume is great on AMD, has always been great. And again, so on a daily chart, this is 28. On March 2nd, we're trading right now around here. So that is the area that we are trading. So what about the levels? So the levels, we have this 46 level. It's a yesterday low. So let me put that here. So in terms of level, yesterday low and yesterday high. So this 46.18 is about yesterday high and 2 days ago low. 2 days ago high, 2 days ago low, yesterday low 41.07. The more levels that I want to put, probably 47.21 and probably some level around 49.80. So if you want to go up, 47.21 is just around the bounce around here. And then we have these moving averages at around 48.91. So these are the levels that I found around. I mean, definitely if you go down, definitely there are more levels as well. So this looks like a level as well, this 47.23. So this is the area that we want to trade. So we want to look for potential levels here. If you pass through this moving average, 50.32 is also a potential level as well. So now let's see what happens. So we go a little bit faster. We're watching it. I mean, now Carlos and Norm are going through that. So we you find the levels. So it's so 47.73. So again, we have these all of the levels. This 46.18 looks like it's holding for a pre-market low. The one big issue that I have with AMD right now, it's 15 minutes to the open. I'm still sleeping. One issue that I have is it's really extended from the VWAP, and VWAP is this blue line. Yeah, I gotta wake up a little bit earlier. So yeah, I just wake up from the bed and coming toward my station. And yeah, the main issue that I have here is, if you want to pause that, is just look at this. I hate when the stocks is way above the VWAP at the open. If you want to take it for opening range break up, it's just the risk is way too much. So that's just one observation that I wanted to mention that. So let's see what it does. We are in a faster speed. And again, you can just buy this simulator for, all right, so we're getting into 1 minute to the open. I'll just increase this, decrease the speed. And again, that's one of the biggest issues that I have right now in is just way too extended right now. All right, so we'll go we're getting slower to the time of the market. Let's see what we're gonna see. I mean, 10 seconds to the open. I mean, we're at normal speed, so it's very important to also run it in the normal speed, so you can actually see that price action properly. Again, the biggest issue that I have right now, stock up 4%. It's great. It's just open way too above the VWAP, and that's one of the biggest issues that I had. And I mentioned that in the chat. But we already see a really clear high of pre-market. So 47.48. I just marked it here on the 5. Let me make this a 5-minute chart. I'm sorry. Yeah, 5-minute chart. So 47.48 is, and as you see, they kind of rejected the high of the pre-market, and still, the VWAP value is 48. The VWAP value is not right here, but look at that in the chart, 46.18 still is an issue. So I want to go long here. I mean, this is a good candidate to go long, for at least for 1 minute opening range breakup. But the only issue is just the VWAP was way below. So let's see what it does in this first candlestick. So 40 seconds. Yeah, 5 minutes. See, it's just really want to squeeze. It does squeeze. Look at that. And that's a really good move, from 47.40 break of 47.48. If you have the level 2, you could really see these signals as well, but we just don't have it ready. So what about now? So it's just big candlesticks. The volume is amazing, liquidity, time and sells. And I didn't take it to the long for opening range breakup. I just didn't take that trade for a long opening range breakup. And the reason for that was it was just way too extended. Where do you want to see? Do you see this drop? This is a drop that you want to stay away from it. So yeah, so that's a huge drop. Let's see if it loses the VWAP or not. Yeah, so it lost the, it's just everyone who are long for opening range breakup, and now they're getting stopped out. A lot of people ask, why, Andrew, didn't you take this trade to the opening range breakup? Was because it's just way too extended, and I hate when the stock is too extended for opening range breakup from the VWAP. That's exactly what happened. If you chase it, I really like the go long around here stock, and that usually happens when the stock is moving way too fast in the pre-market without really proper. So I want to wait. I want to see what it does. It does look like a short now. This is a huge engulfing on a 1 minute chart. 5 minute mixed leaks. There's no love. It's just ticking down, ticking down. So now I'm thinking of a potential short on that. Let's see where this one closed. We're closing, and now we're right at the VWAP. I think I want to go short here. I mean, I like that place to the short. I mean, we can go a little bit short here at 47. The stop loss would be about 47.30. And that's what I mentioned also in the chat, that I want to go 47.30 and I want to see that. What about the previous day close? I think the previous day close, we had a level at the previous day close was at 45.40 if I'm not mistaken. 45.50 was the previous day close. So what do we have? We have a bunch of levels down here. There is a moving average at 46.29, and then we have 46.18 here. So I have 3,000 shares here so far at 40. So the entry was perfect, amazing entry for me. And I have this issue that I always always start scaling out too early, and that's something that I want to work. Maybe you can change, instead of cover 5%, you can go and change position to your point 0.5%. I mean, maybe that's something that I have to do. I mean, in the past, so this is a really good drop. You should definitely start covering some. Now you're above the risk to reward that you already initiated. So that was your risk, and now you're already almost at 2-to-1 to risk to reward. So let's see what we get. So now we're coming down. The market, 5 minutes is really weak. We are losing the VWAP. We already lost the VWAP on the 1 minute chart. So you can really start. Covering some. So I changed it to 5%. I mean, you can do it 10%, 25%, anything that you want, depending on your share size. I think I want to change to 5%. Again, it might increase the commission a little bit, but you are still paying per share structure. So 47.10 is the entry, so it's dropping. This is a really good drop. You cover more. So there's a big sign of weakness here. So you just see a huge weakness. So the next serious resistance is at 46.24. And again, I have this issue that I always cover too early, but that doesn't mean that what I do is always right. So again, another cover. So now we're reaching to a very serious support level. And this is the area that you might actually think that you might get a really big bounce. So we have this 46.18, which is a yesterday high and 2 days ago high. So it's good to cover some. We have this 200 moving average coming on 1 minute chart that we're not sure what we want to do. And so as soon as it drop 45, 47, do you think we can get into that? Definitely possibility of to just get cover more. Now I'm almost one third of my position out. So that's a really good. Now my stop loss is at break even. So now my stop loss is at break even. I'm not going to go red on the trade that I already made such an amazing risk to reward already. And this is already a very successful trade. Yeah, I want to see if we can get to 45, 47. That's the previous day close. So that's also very important to understand. That's the previous day close, PCL. I think we already have that here as well. So see, yeah, there you go. So we put it on the DAS, 45, 48. This one is 45, 47. This is a previous day close. So previous day close is a very powerful support or resistance. So we already lost that. So I'm kind of expecting it to, but I don't see any sign of weakness, strength in there. It's just constantly going down, ticking down, just constantly ticking down. So it's good to cover a little bit more. So this is called the longest squeeze. What is the longest squeeze? A lot of people who were long here for opening range breakup, they got to stop out, and that is the candlestick. If you watched one of the lifetime webinar series that we had, the longest squeeze is the opposite of shortest squeeze. So at the open, a lot of people, you have to wait for a signal candlestick, and this is the signal candlestick, and so you just you go short. A lot of people who tomorrow is also, we have these hotkey workshops. A lot of people have flip positions. So if you were long and you got stopped out, you can quickly cover your position and just go short. There are a lot of professional traders, especially trading fast, they can flip their position. So even if you get stopped out for a loss, if you flip your position, you can actually profit on that. So all right, so I mean, this is a great drop. So now this support now is becoming a resistance. It can't really pop above this moving averages and stuff. And, we might go for a potential, 45, 47. And you can actually put that instead of, you can actually add the trade. So let me pause that. So what you can do is you can actually add this trade as well. So now you have to have the option to actually put your orders, for sub-series. Sometimes levels, the bounce would be so fast that sometimes you don't get filled. So what you can do is, while is actually market is moving, so you can, for example, say 1,000 share, I want to get out at 45.47, so you can at 45.49, you're short, you want to buy, so you click on that, and then now your order would come and sit here, and you can actually see if you can get filled or not. So that's one way of doing. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes when I'm not trading really fast, I can sometimes put order. So I already have 1,000 orders, so this is the order. So 1,000 share, I want to get at 45.49. I mean, it's 45.48 is the previous day close. You can just go a couple of cents above that in case that you don't get filled. But you still can, use cover 5%. You can still use the hotkey and the order is still there. So now it's a 5-minute opening range breakdown. A lot of traders who are waiting for the first minute, you see that they see such a huge drop. Now a lot of 5-minute opening range breakdown traders are actually jumping into the trade. So, you also have the 5-minute opening range breakdown as well. And there you go. Now stock is moving. Yeah, there you go. So I got filled for the 1,000 share that I had, 45.47. Of course, this is just a simulator, but you can just see that. You can. So I already have from 3,000 shares, I'm down to 75%. So 500, no, actually 1/6. So about 15% left. And depending really on risk management, you already booked a really nice profit, and your stop losses are now at the break even. And this is something that I did. So this is something that I did. I was already done with my day. I mean, this is an amazing trade. This is an amazing day. And I was already done with my day. But for those of you who, wanted to have more sophisticated trade management, so this is what I did. So I was watching it. Let's go a little bit faster. I want to see what happened here. So now the stock is bouncing. So previous day close, as I mentioned, is a very powerful level, 45.48. So this is a very powerful trade. So the stock is bouncing. I want to see what happens. So let's see if this support or resistance. Still, you can still in there. I mean, this is a bounce. Not necessarily that it's reversing. It's just maybe a pullback. Your entry is 47.09. So still, you're in a very, very good situation. You don't need to do anything right now. It's coming back down. It's good. You can even cover a little bit more on that. I mean, that's really good. I mean, even if you were not 100% sure, you can always cover a little bit more on that and see what's going to happen. I'm just going a little bit faster because I want to make a point here. So the stock couldn't make a new low here. So it tried to drop. It couldn't make a new low and bounce back. Now, see what's going to happen. I mean, is it going to squeeze above the VWAP or not? Yeah, it is squeezing back up. So that's very interesting. So it means strength. Couldn't reach to the VWAP. So my observation is you can still stay short in there because there's absolutely nothing for you to be worried. So you have this your stop loss is now at the break-even point. I mean, it depends. You can use your stop loss now as the VWAP. If you close above the VWAP, you get out and you protect this amount of profit. I usually, again, I'm a bad example because I'm horrible at trade management. I usually get out too early because I trade the P&L. But so now it seems that you couldn't get into the VWAP yet. So let's wait for see more what's going to happen. All right, so yeah, we didn't lose this moving average, so it's bouncing back through the VWAP. All right, so now it's getting a little bit interesting. See if it's actually closing above the VWAP or not. So if it closes above the VWAP, it goes punches through the VWAP and go toward 47 and even higher. Yeah, that's interesting. See if it squeezes or not. Apparently not. All right, apparently not. So we'll just back to the normal speed. And this is an area that I realized that, okay, if we were really strong enough, we would have been squeezing up. So that's the place that you can actually add more to your position. You can just add a couple of thousand shares, and depending how much you want to risk. Even if you want to add a smaller risk, you can add more into your position at, you know, around 46. So for me, what I noticed is that this thing didn't squeeze up, didn't never closed above the tested the VWAP, but never closed above the VWAP to test anything. You know, a lot of time it closes above the VWAP and goes and tests that in this moving average, but in this example, didn't do anything. So, I mean, that's a good place to add some shares for that. Again, we did have a reversal, but it's not a full reversal, it's a pullback. Why? Because we never really closed above the VWAP. You know, stock is, although was gapping up 4%, but I already lost that. And yeah, so now your stop loss has to, you know, you have to define a new stop loss. You can't use the same stop loss that you had. You know, you can't use this stop loss or not even the break even. Now that you add your position, depending on how much you add it, you have to define a new stop loss that actually fits to your trading portfolio. You know, maybe you want to put it here, and this is the first reward that you want. Maybe you want to put it smaller. You know, this, I think a reasonable stop loss here would be around above the VWAP. So it makes sense for you to take a smaller share size and give it more room, you know, in terms of, again, because now if you want to go back to 45, 47, I mean, this is something that definitely you don't want to give it a huge size, 40 cents. So now I load it up and stock is making a little bit low, but I'm a little bit impatient here in this case, because again, I'm already done with my day. I really don't need to take another position on that on AMD. So I'm a little bit anxious here. For those of you who were in the chat and saw my recap, that was around the same moment that actually I got out. I mean, that was the moment that I bailed. I said, you know what, I don't want to stay in there, and I bailed my share. And as soon as I covered my short, I think AMD, yeah, there you go. So it's slowly moving toward that. I think this was the moment that I actually bailed completely out of my share size. But again, because I was looking at my P&L and I was done, I told myself, what am I doing? Why am I staying in this position? But if you go a little bit faster, see if you can, again, if you have level 2 as well, I mean, level 2 might be a little bit helpful to you to see if you see any big bid, which is usually a bearish sign. And you know, that can also be helpful for you if you want to have that. But in this example, you know, there is really never really touched any of these moving averages or this level, and you obviously see that this level became a resistance. You know, the VWAP is also a very important resistance, and see if you can actually go for another break of low of the day or not. And again, 45, 47, any level after that, if you want to come to the daily chart, another level that I can see is this one. So for those of you who are asking, how do you find these levels? So I think if I want to come back around, you know, come back into them, this is the end of December. Yeah, AMD looks like a bounce around here. So around this level, somewhere around this 2, I think 44, 47 or something like that. This looks like a level. So yeah, so let's see. I mean, in this example, now it slowly is going down, so there is no point to panic. And again, I remember that in this example, I covered everything, so I didn't stay short here. But this is an interesting thing, because now you define the new stop loss around here. You have no reason to really get out of this position. You know, it's doing a pullback. I mean, maybe if there is anything on level 2, you want to manage your position. But let's see if you can actually go crack the low of the day or not. I'm just increasing the speed a little bit. Yeah, still is, you know, dropping these moving averages. 5 minute was a very nice rejection on the VWAP. Now we're going so close to the previous day close. There you go. So cover more on previous day close. And again, so that was the add. The signal for me to add is, signal for me to add was just see the rejection of the VWAP. You know, we did have that. So we'll see what's going to happen. See if it loses the previous day close or not. And again, you know, the market condition, we are at 10 o'clock. I mean, market condition is also important. So it's good to look at the SPY as well. I mean, AMD definitely was a stock in play in that day, but DAS market did affect definitely AMD as well. So it's very, very important to really see what's going to happen on that. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's good for the drop. See if you can get to 44.72. So this 44.72, I just found it. Did you see where I found this 44.72 back in, come back end of December? So this bounce from the years 44.72. So what you can do is you can actually, let's see all of your position, or maybe 1,000 share. You can put that 44.72. Oh, we're already getting there. So you can just, yeah. So you're short, you press buy. So your order was gonna be there. All right, so it's bouncing back. So maybe, yeah, it still depends on your trade management. You already covered some in your ad. So if your average is somewhere around here, now your stop loss has to be above your average. So if this is your average, my average is at 46.16. So somewhere around here is my stop loss. I don't want to go negative on the stock that I already made a decent profit on that. Yeah, so never touch the 44.72. We did close the, leak the previous day close, but let's see what this level, this previous day close also can potentially be a support, resistance. So this previous day close, this one specifically, so that one, yeah, so that line usually in my chart is black. So that line is a previous day close. So now this line potentially can be, oh, there you go, so it's dropping. So I have already 1,000 share order there for 44.72. I mean, that's the daily level, roughly, again, I mean, not down to the penny. We're getting there. So, oh, there you go. So we got filled. Now you have a little shares left. Yeah, again, just for the, yeah, that essentially it's a really nice drop. So so it's dropping more. I mean, you want to, I mean, you don't want to add, I mean, in this case, this seems really extended to me. You want to add more, cover more, and you can cover all. I mean, really, I mean, that's a really good drop. You can leave these 500 shares and to go there. But just this is an example. I mean, the share sizing and trade management. So at 3,000 share was the maximum that I had. So 3.50. So it's 150,000 worth of buying power. So this is 150,000 of buying power. So if you use margin, let's say you have only $50,000 in your account, and you use margin to buy that, so you make $5,000. That's 10% return on your account equity. Of course, buying margin, there's nothing wrong. I always buy on margin. So that's 10%. Of course, you don't get that every day, but if you manage your trade really well, this kind of moves, we're getting it almost every day. And again, I'm not saying that every single day that you can trade that, but you might say, okay, you already knew AMD is like that and you traded like that, but that's essentially the trade that I did. That's essentially the trade that I did. It's not that I knew the answer. This is a live screenshot that I did, and people were in the chat. See, I didn't manage this one really well because I just looked at my PNL and traded PNL. But this kind of moves you can get. I mean, you don't need even coronavirus or market volatility. If you know the pattern, this is a pattern that I mean, you can make this kind. I'm not saying it's easy and everyone can do that, but again, it is something here. So now it's bouncing back, so it's coming back toward my break-even point. And again, I'm not gonna go. This looks like it wants to really squeeze above, so you can just cover all of your position here. But that was this 44.72 was funny. I just found it right here. Yeah, see, these levels are magic. See, I'm telling you, you're making fun of me. All right, guys. So yeah, that's it. Half an hour. Thank you so much. So tomorrow, if you want to learn about these hotkeys and stuff. So tomorrow, on Wednesday, we have Kyle. I have no idea who this guy is. He looks like a hacker or something. He has a weird email. He doesn't have a face, but he's awesome. He knows a lot of stuff from DOS. He knows definitely more than all of us how to create these hotkeys and scripts and stuff. And he's a very active member. So he's gonna have for half of the workshop seminar. He's gonna talk about the hotkeys, the important hotkeys that we need, and the other half there's a forum post that you can ask questions. How do I create this? And then he's answering all of those stuff. So yeah, come to Kyle's presentation. I have no idea who he is, but I know he's a really good trader, and at least I know he does really, really well, better than me. And we do live stream that on YouTube. So if you're not a member, so come tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the Eastern time, so you can actually see live. but the recording won't be available. Recording is only available for lifetime members. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, guys.